So glad you can join me for another Todd Talk. We take teaching theory and turn it into teaching practice. Today's video is one in a series of videos on how to teach public speaking. There are several aspects to public speaking, which is why there are so many videos in this series. I want to make sure I break it down and let you see all the aspects that go into a good public speech. One of the most important ones we're going to talk about is what we're talking about today, which is the idea of what's called your through line. A through line is the main idea of your speech. So, what is the focus of your speech? What is it that you're going to be delivering today when it comes to your speech? A through line is kind of like the thesis in an essay. You establish a thesis, then you have supporting paragraphs that then serve this thesis. It either proves it, persuades you, whatever, but it's all towards this thesis. The thesis is repeated several times so that we're clear on what it is. And everything in the essay has to do with servicing this thesis. The through line is the exact same thing, but one way to look at it is the through line is kind of like a backbone that runs through the entire speech. And everything that you talk about has to branch off from this. So this needs to connect to the through line. This story you're going to tell, this example you're going to give, this visual you're going to use. You are going to connect everything through to this through line. And this does two really important things. First off, it allows the audience to follow with what you're talking about, to understand the point that you're trying to make. If this through line is really clear, then they can better follow that. They can better understand what it is that you're talking about. The second thing it does is, as a speaker, it gives you focus. Without focus, we can tend to ramble, get off task, be places we don't want to be. But having a strong through line allows you to focus your speech in everything you talk about. So from your writing to your practicing to your actual presenting, it is all focused toward this through line. So we're going to talk about the formula of when it comes to creating a through line and what that formula looks like. The first thing I would like to do is distinguish between a topic and a through line. So a topic might be that you're talking about baseball. That's a topic. A focus or a through line is, what are you going to be talking about in regards to baseball? And what purpose does this talk serve? So the formula looks like this, where you take the idea of this topic, you figure out its focus, you kind of figure out the purpose of this, and that's going to equal your through line. So you have to determine these three things in order to get your through line. And just like if we're doing a math problem where we use PEMDAS, we're going to start with the parentheses. So what is the topic? And when we drill down and divide in, what is the focus of this topic, specific focus? Because baseball is too general an idea. I could talk about baseball for hours and hours and hours, and I could talk about several different things. But having this focus allows, again, the audience to latch on to what it is you're specifically talking about. So step number one is the parentheses. So we're looking at this topic divided by the focus. So let's say, for the sake of argument, that your topic is piano playing. And you want to make sure that you do things of focus. Maybe it's an appreciation of piano playing. Maybe it's how to do something specifically, like play a scale. Maybe it's the benefits. So you're going to list benefits. Here are reasons why it's important to play the piano. Could be the history of piano playing. Where did it come from? What are the origins? Where is it gone? It could be a very specific focus on an artist who is a piano player, like Mozart, and analyzing his works and the influences it has had on music in general. So you can see under this one topic, we have several different focuses. If we don't focus on one of those, we're going to end up confusing the audience. So we need to very specifically drill down into one of these and focus on that. Step number 2 is the idea of your purpose. What is the purpose of your speech? What are you trying to accomplish? By the end of the speech, what are you hoping people have done? So when you look at a purpose, there are several different purposes to a speech. It could be to inform. It could be to argue something, to try to convince someone of something. It could be to persuade someone to do something. It might be to inspire them. So how do we get them excited about what it is that you're talking about and inspire them to do the same? Or it could be you're teaching something specific. So how to do something. And these are the steps you have to do in order to learn how to do this. This purpose is really important because if I'm giving an informing speech, I'm giving information and facts. If I'm giving a persuasive speech, I might be mixing facts with opinions. If I'm trying to teach something, I'm going to give you very specific steps, and I don't have to inform you as much as making sure that my steps are detailed and how to do what I'm asking you to do. So this purpose is really important. So you have to determine that. Sometimes that will be determined for you. The teacher will say, I want you to give a persuasive speech, or I want you to give an informative speech. But you also have the option of figuring out how to set that purpose. I give two common speeches in my line of work. Speech number 1, the purpose is to teach. So I'm working with teachers, I'm working with students, I'm trying to teach them how to specifically do something, how to use a strategy, how to take this into their own classrooms. The second type of speech I give is an inspiring speech. These are keynotes at conferences, and I'm not necessarily trying to teach how to do something as I'm trying to inspire them to whatever it is that this conference is about. They're stoked, they're excited, they can't wait to learn more about this. And so the purpose is to inspire. So those speeches are very different. They may be the same topic, but the purposes change. And so I have to adjust my speech to my purpose. Step number 3 is then you take this focused topic and you add the purpose to it. And then that's where you put this all together. So in this case, so we talked about the topic of piano, but specifically we're going to talk about the benefits of piano playing. That's our focus. And then our purpose is to persuade someone as to why these are benefits or how these are beneficial to them. And so we're going to put these together. And so you get this final step, which is your through line. So this is the through line that we've devised from our formula. Here are 5 things you will get from learning how to play the piano. If I start my speech with that, or in my introduction, I say that statement, people know exactly what they're getting. They know I'm going to listen for 5 things about piano playing and what you get from learning. So that's the purpose, is persuasion in this case. I'm trying to convince them of this. And so just like a math problem, we need to go back and check. So if this is our through line, does it cover all the parts of the formula we want it to? So you can see first is the idea of the piano in general. This was our topic that we talked about. Then we need to look at learning how to play it. This is our focus, which is learning how to play the piano is what we're focusing on toward the piano. And then lastly, of course, we're adding in that purpose. And here is our purpose, that people get 5 things that they benefit from playing the piano. So when you put all these things together, we get this very focused through line that allows people to say, that's what the talk is about. That's what I'm supposed to get from it. This is what is being communicated. And then as the person giving the speech, it allows you to craft your speech around this. So I know in my speech, I have to talk about 5 benefits of piano playing. I also know in this speech that I have to persuade people. I have to convince, I can't just say this is a benefit. I have to say this is a benefit and this is why that's important. And let me persuade you of that. So it gives me purpose when I'm creating my speech. And then it gives direction to the audience so that when they are listening to the speech, they know what it is that they're listening for. They know what they're getting out of it. We're being very transparent with what it is that they're going to be getting out of this speech.